Hello and welcome to this tutorial where I'll be showing you my texturing method for WorldMachine, and as a base terrain we will be using this mountain I made in ZBrush with my brush pack. Links can be found in the description. So to colorize, to make the texture, we will be using the colorizer, which can be found here in the converter colorizer. And basically a colorizer transforms the height map input into a gradient image, into a color image using a gradient. This is a simple gradient I created, and you can see how this looks like. Another really easy way to show you how this works is using slope selector. Basically, this is a slope map of our terrain. The highest values are the steepest points, and the lowest values, the black ones, are the most flat ones. So if you plug that into the colorizer, we get one color in the flat areas and another color in the steep areas. Okay, so one thing to make realistic looking color maps is using the erosion in WorldMachine, because it creates some really good maps. The position, wear, and flow maps are really good for making realistic texturing. And I just go ahead and adjust a little bit. You can this technique is really open to a lot of different interpretations, but basically what I try to do with my erosion is leave the terrain as untouched as possible, because the flow maps that will be generated will follow the base terrain quite accurately. Alright, as you can see, the difference here from the eroded and uneroded terrain is quite small. The erosion isn't too destructive. Actually, I really like this erosion. But we want to keep our base terrain as a terrain where the texture gets applied, because the erosion in WorldMachine sometimes in some areas is really destructive. But we can still use the flow maps and the position maps as a base for our texturing. So if you see, if we apply the position map onto a terrain, it follows all the natural flow lines really well. So alright, we've got this map that we will use, and another really good one is some sort of ambient occlusion. And to make ambient occlusion, we want to blur our terrain and then extract the difference from the unblurred terrain, and we get something like this, which is, it sort of looks like the ambient occlusion. Wait, let me show you. If I make this as a mask and equalize it a bit, you can see how this kind of looks like some ambient occlusion mask. And this is also quite good for coloring. So right now I'm collecting all these different uh, information maps about the terrain. This one is about the erosion deposition. This one is kind of about the locality of our terrain. And another one which really helps make the colors look realistic is the slope. We will go in and select like the higher slopes, one of these, and also one of these, and then we will combine them all to make one height map that we will plug into the colorizer. Okay, another really good one that we can use is the roughness. This, as you can see, it kind of picks out the rougher areas of the terrain. And let's use these, combine them all. I will first plug this in, add a little bit of the erosion details, and also combine these two ones, the slope, something like this. And this is mostly about trial and error, trying what looks good and what doesn't. Multiplying. As you can see in this color map right now, we have a lot of information about the erosion, these flow lines here, some about the height and the locality of the terrain, and also the slopes. Oh, last but not least, let's add some roughness. This time, let's edit to our mask, to our map, I mean. Yeah, this looks quite good. We can go ahead and adjust the range of this, like this. And this is pretty much all we need to make realistic looking terrains. And now let's plug in a colorizer. And now another step which really helps bring out some good looking colors is going and choosing some pretty pictures with colors you really like. I've chosen these ones for the tutorial, and then going ahead and picking some of the colors using a snipping tool. You can use the Windows snipping tool. I'm using ShareX. It's a program for sharing images and taking quick images of your desktop. And it basically works like this. I can pick out an area of which colors I like, and I can choose to use that as a gradient in WorldMachine. Maybe something like this. Okay, it got saved. And to choose this image inside your colorizer, you have to import the color table from a file. Let's go into the ShareX images. This is the file. And you can see it created the image based on the colors I selected. Right now I'm not really happy with the colors, so I choose something else. Maybe this. This is also a lot of trial and error. As you can see, these are too many colors, it's too much noise. So maybe I can select a smaller area so we have less pixel details. This color map looks really good, and let me show you how it looks on the terrain. Okay, but right now this is not really the color I'm aiming for. I'm more looking for an alpine mountain color, but we can use this. So I think we need some green for the grass. This one is really intense, but we can mix and match. So let's choose a color we like. This green here is a bit dark. Um, Now I'm just collecting different colors for different areas. This is really intense, but I like how I like the color distribution. Another color we need is the rocks, but first let's finish the grass. I think we need a little darker, something a little dark. This one maybe. and then we will mix the two. You can see this is really noisy because the gradient I took from this image was a little big, and the image is quite noisy in general. And so I think I'll select a smaller area. Something like this. Already looks much better. You have some good contrasts and some nice color range in general. Okay, another area we need is the rocks, and maybe like some gravel like here. For the rock color, I think I'll still choose this gravel here. It's basically maybe a little darker here, but I think it would work too. This is really noisy, so let's choose something else. Maybe this area down here. So basically what the colorizer does is uh, it, it chooses from a row of pixels. Here, each horizontal row in the line defines the color gradient, so you can choose a row of pixels you want. This is actually the first time I noticed this feature. I always thought it just picked the first one. So this is good. If you have a color map you don't like, you can just go ahead and choose something else. Oh, interesting. Okay, another area we need is snow. So let's pick something out of here. Most of the time for snow you can just go ahead and use white, completely white. This time I will go with a little bit more blue color. Yes, why not? And now let's go ahead and combine these. Alright, so first thing, let's use the grass as a base. So we will combine these two in some kind of, no, let's just go and look what looks nicest. I think this is all too much. Maybe we can combine them based on the mask. And for a mask we could use the height of our terrain. So right now the higher values, where the terrain is higher picks the darker color, and where the terrain is lower picks this brighter green. I think I'd like it the other way around, so let's invert the terrain. Yes, why not? Let's check how it looks. Maybe we can also add some of the erosion details to this mask. Like this. Wait, let me show you. So now we have some of the brighter greens on the top of the mountain and on the areas with a lot of erosion deposition, which looks nice. Now from the grass we need to add the rocks. This one, and the rocks are found on the higher slopes. So let's go ahead and plug in terrain and choose the higher slopes. Usually I go with something around 40, 45. go down with the fall off because you want some sharp edges where the rocks meet the grass. Plug in this grass into here, this rock I mean, and you can see how this works. Basically it places the rocks on the higher slopes, and I like these two colors. A bit too dark. To adjust that we can use the bias and gain and adjust the bias with a little bit lighter rocks. This is too light, we will not see the snow then. Like this. Yeah, why not? Okay, I think another color I want to add is this one. And to add this one, maybe we can use a slope and height information. So maybe down here in the valley we get some of the brown, and on the slightly higher slopes something like around 27. But this detail I want to add it to the grass, to this one. So let's try only adding it on the slope. Definitely not this much. Maybe like this. Oh wait, I haven't. No, I have. Okay, no, a little bit more. You can see some of these areas got a little browner, which adds another nice little color contrast to the terrain. And last but not least, let's add some of the snow on this area, on that mountain top. And usually people go and add the snow based on the height of the terrain, but that usually causes for a really boring looking or strange looking snow line. Let me show you. So the snow accumulates only on the flat areas. So something around 45, maybe more, 48 degrees, because on the very steep cliffs the snow just falls down on the rocks. So this is our normal snow mask, and if we add the snow on this, let me show you what happens. This is our snow color. Let's make the snow a little brighter. Yeah, I think I don't need the snow color. I can just go in and add the mask because it's a pure white. Put it on maximum, and then we'll add some white snow on top of here. And you can see if we use a height chooser, a height mask, we get a really linear snow line, and that's not really good in my opinion. It looks kind of strange and boring. So one thing I do is using one of these noises and create a mask that looks a little bit noisier, and not as linear. So the trick here is finding something that looks similar to your base terrain. And to do that, simply combine the two and click on a new seed all the time until I get something that looks that's basically has a similar shape. I can also go ahead and change the place of the purlin. No, I think this one is too big. No, something else. This one maybe. Yes, right. Okay. So this is like the shape of our mountain simplified. Um, we will use this combination of the two as an input for the height selector of our snow mask. And we place the snow in these areas. This okay. Let's make a small column, 0 meters, so the snow mask is really sharp. And if you're not happy with the mask, I'm not happy with it right now because of this spot here and not too much snow in this area, you can just go ahead and change the parent. No, until you find something that satisfies you. There you go, found something that I like. And there are these little splotches here that annoy you. You can go in and subtract them using a layer generator. So let's go in the layer generator and draw a polygon around this shape. Set the fall off to 0 and then subtract this from our rhythm. And you can see it disappears. Alright, so that's it. This technique can be used with a lot of different biomes and basically for coloring everything. And as you can see, it's really messy and also open for a lot of different approaches. You can choose to use other types of masks. You can use maybe the wear map. Let's check out how the wear map looks, or the flow map. This one. Basically, to create realistic maps, you just have to use a lot of different informations about your height map, like slopes, ambient occlusion, stuff like that, and matching everything and see what looks best to you, or what looks more realistic. Thank you for watching the tutorial, and I hope it has helped you. Bye bye.